Tweed Up, where we take video games, music, movies, and more way too seriously. I'm Neil, this is Zac, and today we're doing a quick review of the new album by Molly entitled Picturesque. Alright, Molly is a band from Austria. It's a duo, two-piece. You got a drummer, and you got a vocalist, multi-instrumentalist, mostly guitar and keys. Alright, so we're going to talk about this record that just came out in January of 2023. And to talk about this record, I'm going to mention several genres of music. Now, there are so many different labels for different music that it's kind of ridiculous. So I can't talk about this album without mentioning different genres.
It doesn't make sense.
So the genres that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to mention what's called post-rock.
Post-rock.
Post-rock is a music genre exemplified by longer compositions that have a linear structure, meaning they don't have a traditional verse, chorus, bridge, chorus structure. They are more like a lot of the basis for a lot of post-rock is a simple guitar line or a simple melody that starts out quiet, and then there are layers built upon it, and there are these builds, these long, drawn-out builds that grow in density over the course of a long track, okay? And some of the biggest post-rock bands, Godspeed You Black Emperor, this album is amazing.
Cool name.
This is another one. This is their newest record, Estate's Embrace. Or no, it's called At State's End. It says Estate's Embrace on the back of it. And this band is amazing. We'll probably talk about them sometime. It's all instrumental and somehow ends up sounding political. It's amazing.
I'm sold.
Another post-rock band from Iceland, and probably the biggest influence on Molly, the band we're talking about today, is Sigur Rós. Extremely popular and influential post-rock band. It's another one of their albums, which is excellent. And then another American band, post-rock, Explosions in the Sky. If you are not familiar with Explosions in the Sky, you have probably heard their music, or you have heard other people trying to make music that sounds like Explosions in the Sky on various television soundtracks.
Huh.
They've
got a cool band name.
Yeah, they're awesome. Look them up. And another term that I will use in this analysis, this short review, will be shoegaze. Now, the term shoegaze is from the idea that guitar players are standing on stage.
You've all seen them doing it.
Looking down at their effects pedals and changing the different effects pedals. Some bands that exemplify shoegaze. Ride. They're awesome. Look them up if you don't know Ride. And My Bloody Valentine. You should probably know My Bloody Valentine. If you don't, you should.
Sure.
Anyway. So.
Now the level's set.
Yeah. Now I can use those terms and you guys know what I'm talking about. So this is an Austrian duo, and they make post-rock, very much in the vein of Sigur Rós. They're long tracks. I would say the most apt adjective I could use for this music is hopeful. Would you agree, Zac?
I would say too. Yeah.
So, Zac, you've listened to the record.
I have.
What do you think of it?
Yeah, first impression was definitely, 6 tracks. All right, this is going to be perfect for the grocery store. Didn't realize they were, 12 to 15 minute tracks.
Right. Well,
but
there's one that's long. The rest of them are generally between 4 and 8 minutes, but there is one 13-minute track. Yeah.
True. Ballerina is a 4-minute track. That's number 1. Hits you right out of the gate. The singer's got a beautiful voice. I mean, he really does. Seems like just about, you were talking about stacking layers upon layers.
Mm-hmm.
Like his is the one consistent thread that winds through everything and keeps it all together, and he does a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say about Ballerina, the first track, it opens as if it's like the climax of one of the post-rock builds. Like it opens really strong with full guitars, you know, lots of reverb, full drums. So the duo is a drummer and a multi-instrumentalist. The drummer's great.
Which you and I are learning at the same time now.
Yeah. The drummer, what I love about the drummer, I'm a fan of big ride cymbals, and I'm a fan of hitting big ride cymbals very hard, and he does that a lot. He doesn't play it with the tip of the stick. He's hitting it with the shaft of the stick on the edge. So you almost get like a crash cymbal sound out of it, you know. But it's a really big ride that he's hitting, so it's got a heavy, thick. It resonates a long time every time he hits it. Great ride cymbal sound.
Yeah, it is awesome. Next up is Metamorphosis, coming in at 12 minutes 35 seconds. This is the A+ song, like in my book. This is the song that really does it for me. Which is funny because for about a minute and a half of the middle of the song, it's just complete silence.
Yeah, it's an interesting song. It opens with a bass line, and like there's not much bass in this album. Like you don't hear the bass that much in this album, but their big 13-minute track opens with just a bass line and the vocal, then inside out and upside down. Yeah, it's really cool. The isolated vocals do really sound good. He has a really interesting voice. It's like one of those voices that makes me think, oh, he sounds like, and then I think, who does he sound like? And like lots of different names come up when I'm trying to think of who he sounds like, you know? Did you have that same feeling?
Except for I don't have the names because I don't have the music knowledge, but I do. I know what he's talking about. It's like, oh man, this singing, this voice, this kind of singing, I've heard it.
Yeah.
But he does it well.
He does. You know?
Yeah. Metamorphosis, the first half of it, pretty good song. The second half of it, whoo, man, like some of the best music I've heard, and
it's great.
It's really something.
And the song, what's interesting, it fades to complete silence.
Sure does.
Complete silence, like
nothing.
You think that it's just getting quiet, and it's almost one of those things where you can trick your mind into thinking that note that's fading is still a little bit there, because then it comes back in a swell. Mm-hmm. But there is some seconds of absolute silence before it's not even the second half, before the period after that silence starts. But I have to say, like, once it comes back with that build,
oh my god,
and then there's what I put in my notes as a wind solo. You remember the wind solo? Dude. You got a wind kind of sound, and then it puts in like an edit, you know. Mm-hmm. It's like a very glitchy edit to a wind sound, which is really cool. And then
nothing else.
And then the guitar line that comes in after that edit, it's very clean. It really reminds me of Explosions in the Sky, if you know Explosions in the Sky. It's beautiful guitar line. And then the guitars and the drums get super heavy. Super heavy toward the end. It's really great. Yeah.
Really, really fantastic. Made the album for me. I didn't realize that it was the same song. The first time I was listening to this, I was bopping along at the grocery store, and when I got home, I wanted to listen to the second part. Couldn't find it. Got real frustrated. Ended up figuring it out. True story. Track number 3, The Golden Age, coming in at 8 minutes. Elegant simplicity, after finishing so heavy, it's nice to kind of get back into that a little.
The drummers, the drum beat that he starts it off and plays for most of it is really cool. It's like this boom, boom,
This was the one that I actually have the note. Ask Neil if these are real drums or a drum machine.
They're real drums. The drummer is part of the 2-piece. Yeah, it's really good.
And I also have, these guys go all out on every track, because, like you said, they usually end up stacking up pretty hard.
Yeah. Like this album is really about. I feel like
rising.
You feel like you're looking up towards the heavens. You know what I mean?
I had the impression of rising. Cathedral.
Yeah, cathedral is a good.
I use the word celestial. And a couple of these.
There is at the end, towards the end of the Golden Age, there's a like almost spoken word, like, and it's not spoken word. He is singing, but it's in a quicker pattern. A lot of his vocalizations are like long, drawn out vowels and stuff, and like. If you are into specifically lyrical content, this is not the album to listen to for that.
I think there were 6 sentences in Ballerina altogether.
Yeah.
And
so
by sentences, I mean
much
lines.
like other post-rock, this is not about the lyrical content, you know? But I will say that spoken word kind of portion towards the end of that song really gives variety because there's nothing else like it on the rest of the album. And at the end of Golden Age, it gets super heavy guitar. I almost wish... So another band that this band sort of reminds me of in like 0 ways, but kind of, is the band Deaf Heaven. And like I almost wish at the end of something like Golden Age that the drummer would break into like a blast beat and they'd really like take this growth, this build, this like, you know, hopeful like exaltation to the next level, like, you know, a band like Deaf Heaven or even like Liturgy, if you're familiar with the band Liturgy.
I was just thinking to avoid copyright strikes, we should record you doing a what's it called, a blast?
A blast beat?
Blast beat so that we could put that in post. Yeah, we have post nowadays, by the way. So interestingly enough, talking about you know, lyrically, there's not a whole lot of meat on the bone for you here. But track 4, Sunday Kid, coming in at 4 minutes long. I thought that this one, while still everything that we've talked about, also gentle and
no drums.
Yeah, no drums. And at the risk of a copyright strike, I'd like to read a lyric from that I thought was really great. Okay, so, and he can't believe he is sane, for no sorrow has yet had the power to drastically change his prospects on nothing at all and anything yet. And
that's
obviously,
good stuff, man.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like, if I just, you know, heard somebody read that in a poetry reading, I would think, man.
Yeah, so this track is all like organ. It's really, really reverb heavy. And it's, you know, it's no drums and like his vocals sound great. His vocals in this song specifically really remind me of Dan Behar from Destroyer, was also in the New Pornographers. Really, really kind of unique vocalist. And the singer from Molly has a really interesting vocal style. You know? And I'm glad you pointed out those lyrics. You know, I sort of gave up on the lyrics, but that's awesome. You know. The next song, So to Speak, though, is my personal favorite on the album.
It's my second highest.
I put best track. It's got beautiful guitar tone, and like this is one that I did look up the lyrics on, and they're very abstract but interesting. And I just love the way it started. The far off it seems, you know, and that. The sort of spacey, kind of dreamy vibe is the whole vibe of the album. You know, it's my favorite vocal delivery and melody on the record for sure. Again, the drummer's use of the cymbals, that thick ride is really good, and they bring back the organ sound from Sunday Kid, the previous track, on this song. And then like most of this song is pretty. It's got full drums, full instrumentation, but towards the end of the song, it goes kind of back to the Sunday Kid instrumentation and repeats the, so to speak, vocal chorus. This, I would say, was the most traditional structured song. You know, it's more like dream pop or chamber pop kind of track on the album.
Now, he didn't tell us about chamber pop at the beginning of the video. Don't you start.
Have you ever heard of Wise Blood?
No.
Check them out.
Wise Blood. Heard of here first-ish? My notes for So to Speak. I feel like if the performers from Mali were to hear this, I hope they would take this as praise. This is not a poem. These were my thoughts. The opening guitar feels celestial. There's the use of the word celestial. Like walking into a cathedral, feel like I'm waking in golden light. Singer's voice is amazing. So, yeah, I thought pretty highly of it. Second favorite track on the record.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you get to The Lot.
Yeah, coming in at 11 minutes.
It is by far the darkest song on the album.
I thought you were going to... I said darkest, heaviest, loudest.
Yeah. It's
crashing cymbals.
It's much. It's not different from everything else in the album, but it's very minor key, very dark and dreary. Although it does build to a sort of blissful release that
it does have.
That, to be honest, you can see coming a mile away. Yeah. But it's still good. And it's still welcome when it arrives.
Yeah, it's needed at that point. I mean, not that it's just it needed some balance and bringing it in.
It starts with a really cool guitar tone. Again, reminds me of Explosion in the Sky, and it starts with the lines "You want it all," and it's called The Lot. I don't know what the song's about exactly.
I don't either.
But you can kind of get the idea. From it's, I feel like they're writing lyrics intentionally vague.
Yep.
But it's a cool song. It has a lot of it's minor key and it's different from the rest of the album. I almost wish that it was positioned differently in the album. I almost wish The Lot came at track 4 or something instead of at the end.
Maybe that follows Metamorphosis.
Yeah, because at the end it doesn't continue the sort of the emotion from the rest of the record. I feel like it should have been positioned differently in the record. Again, I still like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. But it doesn't. Hopeful is a great adjective to describe the vibe and the feel of that record. And then the way it closes,
it's kind of sad.
Yeah, and maybe that's the point.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like to finish hopeful.
Yeah, but and in that song, it does build to.
But does it bring you all the way back, or does it show you the bright side, the silver lining?
Right. So I mean, it's there. The positivity is there, but that's definitely the darkest song on the album. But
the sun will come out tomorrow.
Yeah, if you've never checked out Molly,
I had never checked him out. This guy told me.
Yeah, put it on. I think
it was great.
It's hard to not like. I think it is. They definitely.
It's interesting.
They're very big fans of Sigur Rós. And if you listen to Molly and have never heard of them, check them out. And if you've never listened to post-rock in general, check out Godspeed You Black Emperor, because they're amazing.
And they have an amazing band name, so they just deserve it.
But anyway, checking them out. Thanks for watching Tweed Up. I'm Neil. This is Zach. Peace out.
Peace out.